Burn your vision board. Tear up the 5-year plan you wrote with shaky hope last New Year's Eve. Throw away the journals where you begged the universe for mercy, luck, or miracles. They are not helping you. They are numbing you. They are teaching you to kneel before a future that does not exist and may never arrive. You were taught that success requires a goal, a destination, a shining image on the horizon that, if you just keep walking, will someday become real. But pause for a moment and look at your life honestly. Not romantically, not optimistically, honestly. Has chasing that distant picture made you powerful or anxious? Has it given you control or turned you into a hostage of outcomes you cannot command? Goals promise clarity, but they quietly steal authority. They train your mind to live in the not yet, not rich yet, not respected yet, not strong yet. And because you live in the not yet, you are hollow in the now, fragile, dependent. One unexpected blow, a market crash, an illness, a betrayal, a single bad month, and everything collapses. Why? Because your identity was rented from a future version of yourself that never showed up. Niccolo Machiavelli understood something that modern self-help refuses to admit. The world is chaos. He called it fortuna, a violent, unpredictable force like a river that floods without a warning. Most people build their lives on its banks. They set goals and hope the water stays calm. It never does. The flood always comes. Machiavelli did not worship goals. He despised hope, not because he was cynical, but because he was realistic. Hope makes you passive. It convinces you that time will solve what courage and strategy should confront today. In The Prince, he warns that men deceive themselves by imagining the world as they wish it to be, rather than seeing it as it is. This self-deception is fatal. A goal is a wish disguised as a plan. A method is a siege. One relies on luck, the other creates necessity. And if you are exhausted from climbing ladders only to realize they were leaning against the wrong wall, then you are ready for the first truth. You must stop aiming at a destination and start transforming your position. Most people don't set goals because they are ambitious. They set goals because they are in pain. Dissatisfied with their present reality, they invent a fantasy future to escape it. I want to be rich. I want to be happy. I want to be successful. These are not maps. They are painkillers. They soothe the discomfort of who you are right now without forcing you to change the structure of your life. And here is the trap. When you fixate on a goal, you develop tunnel vision. You stare so hard at the mountain peak that you miss the cliff beneath your feet. You become rigid, and in nature, rigid things snap. When the goal slips away, and it often will, you don't just lose the outcome. You lose yourself. You feel worthless, exposed, like a fraud, because you tied your self-worth to something you never truly controlled. Machiavelli proposed something colder, sharper, and far more durable. Virtù. Not virtue in the moral sense, not kindness, not goodness. Virtue is effectiveness, competence, adaptability, the ability to impose your will on circumstance. A Machiavellian does not say, I want to be rich. That is a passive plea. A Machiavellian says, I will acquire scarce skills. I will master persuasion. I will position myself where capital must pass through me. Do you feel the difference? One is hoping, the other is engineering reality. The moment you delete your goals, you are not quitting. You are getting serious. You stop asking, what do I want someday? And start asking, where am I weak right now? Where is my leverage leaking? Who controls the resources I need? What system, if built, would make outcomes irrelevant? This is the shift from dreamer to architect. The dreamer looks at the sky and imagines castles. The architect studies the ground and measures load-bearing walls. Right now, Your foundation is cracked because you have been staring at the horizon instead of your feet. Stop looking forward. Look down. Look at your hands. What can you control today? Not the result, the structure. What habit, what skill, what environment can you install that makes progress unavoidable? Machiavelli understood that outcomes belong to fortuna, but preparation belongs to you. And if your preparation is solid, even disaster cannot destroy you. You simply pivot, you adapt, you advance. This is the first act of self-conquest, falling out of love with the destination and falling in love with the siege. The siege is daily, unromantic, relentless. It does not promise applause. It promises pressure, but pressure is what forges authority. When you abandon goals, something unsettling happens. You no longer get dopamine from talking about what you will do. You no longer feel productive just by imagining success. The child inside you, who wants rewards before effort, starts to scream. That child must be silenced. In his place, you awaken the strategist, the part of you that does not ask for motivation, but demands power. This is not self-help. Self-help comforts. This is self-conquest. And conquest begins with territory, your mind, your habits, your position in the world. In the next chapter, we will expose why announcing your ambitions is an act of weakness, how silence preserves power, and why Machiavelli believed secrecy was not deception, but survival. For now, let the map burn. You no longer need a destination. You are becoming the terrain. We live in an era that confuses exposure with progress. Everyone is announcing, broadcasting, declaring. I'm starting a business. I'm going to the gym. Big things coming soon. This noise is celebrated as confidence, but Machiavelli would have recognized it instantly for what it is. Weakness disguised as courage. Power does not announce itself. Power arrives. Machiavelli warned that a ruler who reveals his intentions too early hands his enemies the knife and tells them exactly where to strike. Yet modern ambition does the opposite. It posts the blueprint before the foundation is poured. It seeks validation before results exist. And in doing so, it leaks energy, creates resistance, and destroys momentum before it can compound. When you speak about your plans, two dangerous things happen. First, your brain betrays you. The moment you tell someone what you intend to do, your nervous system releases dopamine, the same chemical reward you would get if you had actually done it. Your mind cannot clearly distinguish between declared identity and earned identity. You feel accomplished without effort, satisfied without sacrifice, and satisfaction is the enemy of execution. Hunger dies the moment you feel seen. Second, you create opposition. Not always openly, not always consciously. But the world is competitive, even when it pretends to be supportive. The moment you declare an ambition, you give people something to measure themselves against. Some will envy you. Some will doubt you. Some will secretly hope you fail so their own inaction feels justified. You have just created enemies without gaining any advantage. Machiavelli would call this suicide. He used the metaphor of the lion and the fox. The lion is strong, feared, dominant, but the lion falls into traps. The fox is physically weak, but it sees the traps. True power requires both. But when it comes to ambition, you must first be the fox. Silent, observant, deceptive when necessary. One must be a great feigner and dissembler, Machiavelli wrote. This is not about lying for pleasure. It is about preserving optionality. When people do not know what you are building, they cannot interfere. When they do not know your direction, they cannot block your path. Mystery is not emptiness. It is stored power. Talking leaks power. Doing generates it. Imagine you are building a weapon. You do not discuss it in public forums. You do not invite opinions. You do not seek applause. You work in isolation, precision, patience, and the only time the world becomes aware of the weapon is when it is already effective. Be that principle embodied. Instead of goals, adopt what Machiavelli practiced instinctively: a secret agenda. A goal is external and submissive. I want to get promoted. A secret agenda is internal and predatory. I will make myself indispensable to decision-makers, control information flow, and force the promotion to become the least risky option for them. Do you feel the shift in gravity? The goal pleads, the agenda plots. When you operate with a secret agenda, your behavior changes. You stop trying to be impressive. You stop begging to be noticed. In meetings, you listen more than you speak. You observe power dynamics. You notice who interrupts whom, who defers, who controls resources. You are no longer emotionally invested in being liked. You are strategically invested in understanding the terrain. This creates an aura people can't explain. They sense restraint, containment, latent force. You are not loud, but you are heavy. You don't chase attention, and that makes attention drift toward you. Humans instinctively respect what feels controlled. Mystery unsettles them. Silence makes them project competence onto you. Stop seeking applause for things you have not yet done. Applause is payment, and once you're paid, the work stops. Starve your ego, feed your shadow. Let results be the only sound you make. Here is where the weak collapse and the strategist separates himself. Life will interfere, always. You will set conditions in motion, and chaos will respond. Illness, loss, betrayal, market crashes, relationship implosions. The goal setter experiences this as tragedy. It's not fair. Everything is ruined. Why does this always happen to me? The Machiavellian laughs. Not because he enjoys pain, but because he understands fortuna. Chaos is not personal, it is structural. It does not attack you. It tests you. If you have rigid goals, chaos is your enemy. If you have a system, chaos is fuel. Machiavelli famously wrote that fortune is like a woman, wild, violent, and attracted to boldness. She favors the impetuous over the cautious. This does not mean recklessness. It means aggression toward reality. When circumstances change, you do not freeze. You strike the new opening. Delete the concept of Plan A and Plan B. That is still goal thinking. There is only the objective and the terrain. The objective is constant: power, autonomy, control of resources, freedom of movement. The terrain is whatever exists right now. If the terrain shifts, you do not complain that the map is wrong. You throw away the map and study the ground. Lose your job? The goal setter says, "My career is ruined." The strategist says, "The terrain has changed. I am now mobile. My urgency has increased. I will exploit this pressure to enter a higher leverage arena I avoided when I was comfortable." Same event, opposite outcomes. This is anti-fragility, the ability to gain strength from disorder. Goals make you brittle. Systems make you dangerous. Do not build a glass castle. Build a fire. Wind destroys a candle. Wind feeds a fire. When you live by goals, you fear disruption. When you live by positioning and leverage, you invite it. Challenge sharpens you. Chaos reveals weaknesses you can correct. Pressure exposes inefficiencies you would never notice in comfort. Ask yourself something uncomfortable. If you lost everything tomorrow, status, income, stability, would you know what to do? If the answer is no, you are over-attached to comfort. You are soft, and softness is invisible until it is tested. Machiavelli was exiled, tortured, stripped of power, forgotten. Did he collapse? No, he converted suffering into strategy. He sat in isolation and wrote The Prince, a book so powerful it shaped rulers for centuries. He did not achieve his original goal in the way he imagined. He achieved something greater. He conquered time. Misery is raw material. Weak men let it rot them. Strategists use it as ink. This chapter ends with a warning. Do not confuse silence with passivity. Silence is preparation. Do not confuse secrecy with fear. Secrecy is discipline. You are not hiding because you are ashamed. You are hiding because the blade is not sharp enough yet. In the next chapter, we will go deeper into the most dangerous enemy of all, emotional leakage. How feelings sabotage strategy. Why being nice to yourself creates mediocrity. And how to install internal law so strict that motivation becomes irrelevant. Say the word when you're ready. There is one trap that destroys even the most intelligent strategists. It is subtle. It disguises itself as self-awareness, sensitivity, even wisdom. Machiavelli warned about it more than any external enemy because it does not attack from the outside. It leaks from within. That trap is emotional leakage. Emotions are not evil. They are signals. But the moment you allow them to dictate strategy, you surrender sovereignty. Most people believe they are rational because they can explain their feelings. They are not. They are still governed by them. They react, justify, cope, and call it maturity. It is not. It is servitude. A Machiavellian does not eliminate emotion. He contains it. Think of your mind as a state. Right now it is a riot. Impulses roam freely. Cravings hold hostages. Moods overthrow plans. One bad conversation can derail an entire week. One insult can hijack a decision. One moment of boredom can undo months of discipline. This is not freedom. This is anarchy. Machiavelli understood that chaos must be ruled, not negotiated with. A weak ruler tries to please the mob. A strong ruler imposes order. You are the ruler of your own mind, but you have been governing like a populist, not a king. We are told to love ourselves, to be gentle, forgiving, understanding of our flaws. There is a time for recovery, yes, but there is no time for weakness disguised as compassion. Look honestly at what excessive gentleness has produced. Soft bodies, distracted minds, fragile egos, and people who collapse under minimal pressure. Machiavelli asked a question that still makes people uncomfortable. Is it better to be loved or feared? His answer was clear. It is safer to be feared than loved. Apply this inward. Do you love yourself? Of course you do. You let yourself sleep in. You excuse the missed workout. You allow the distraction. You negotiate with your impulses. And that love is quietly destroying you. You need to fear yourself. You need to fear the version of you that avoids discomfort. You need to fear the version of you that settles. You need to fear waking up 5 years from now with nothing but explanations. This fear is not anxiety. It is respect. It is the same fear citizens feel toward a just but unbreakable law. They know where the line is, and they do not cross it. To achieve this, you must become law, not mood. A ruler does not wake up and ask, "Do I feel like enforcing order today?" The law executes regardless of emotion. When you operate this way, motivation becomes irrelevant. You act because you must, not because you feel inspired. Delete the goal of losing weight. Install physical sovereignty. A sovereign does not negotiate with terrorists, and your cravings are terrorists. They demand comfort in exchange for your potential. They promise relief and deliver decay. Delete the goal of success. Install competence mandates. You do not chase praise. You sharpen skill until you cannot be ignored. Delete the goal of happiness. Install emotional control. Happiness is a side effect of power, not a prerequisite. Punishment and reward are not cruelty. They are structure. Break your own law. Pay a price. Keep it. Earn a privilege. Be fair, but be ruthless. A state without consequences collapses. So does a man. And here is the paradox. Weak minds never understand. The more ruthless you are with yourself, the freer you become. Discipline is the only freedom. When you can command yourself to do the hard thing, and you do it, you feel a quiet, dangerous confidence. You stop needing encouragement. You stop consuming motivation. You stop searching for permission. You walk into rooms differently because you know something most people do not. You can control yourself. Most people cannot even control what they eat for breakfast. How can they control a negotiation, a business, their destiny? This is where the Machiavellian method completes itself. Goals are gone. Emotions are contained. What remains is a system. Simple, cold, effective. It rests on 3 pillars: positioning, leverage, adaptability. Positioning means you stop asking, "What do I want to achieve?" and start asking, "Where must I be standing?" Money flows in certain places. Power concentrates in certain rooms. Strength is forged in certain environments. Move your body and mind there. Success is not a sprint. It is a location. Now, leverage means you stop using brute force. 1 hour of your time should move 10 hours of outcome. Use technology, use systems, use alliances. Machiavelli did not fight every battle himself. He used other armies. Efficiency is not laziness. It is conservation of force for decisive moments. Adaptability means you read reality every day. Your energy, the market, the room. If you are tired, do strategic thinking. If you are strong, execute. If the door is locked, use the window. If the window is barred, dig. If the ground is too hard, wait for rain. Never stop moving, but never worship direction. This is why you can no longer fail. Failure requires a fixed destination. You have none. You can only be delayed, and delay, to a strategist, is just time sharpening the blade. When you live this way, something changes in your eyes. Desperation leaves, neediness evaporates. You stop chasing, you stop explaining, you stop performing ambition. People feel it. In a world of anxious planners, the man with the system is king. You become the eye of the storm, calm, cold, observant. While others panic about 5-year plans, you lay bricks that will hold for 50. While they fantasize about the future, you dominate the present. Every action becomes a maneuver. Every silence becomes pressure. Every setback becomes geometry, calculating a new angle of attack. This path is not for everyone. It is lonely. It is dark. It requires you to kill the part of you that wants to be rescued. No mentor is coming. No goal will save you. No affirmation will carry you through chaos. Only command will. But if you have read this far, you already know the truth. You were never meant to be guided. You were meant to govern. The moment you stop asking, stop wishing, stop hoping, and start issuing orders to yourself, the world begins to bend. Not because it is kind, because it must. The map is burned, the noise is gone, the throne is yours. Guard it. End.